My dear students, as we are reading a play, Watchman of the Lake, in your previous class, we started scene 2, and the discussion here is taking between King and Mara. And here, actually, last class we concluded that King asked actually what he wanted. There, the Mara said, they stoned me at sight and commanded me to take myself out of the village. When I still appeared, they bound and threw me in a cellar. But the man who was my jailer, though a giant in appearance, has the soul of a baby, he let me go when he heard of my dream and the command of the goddess. And I slipped out unseen and climbed this tree and hid myself in its leaves, waiting and praying for your Majesty's gracious arrival, your Majesty's arrival, that your arrival. And he was waiting, and he jumped from that branch, stood in front of the king and talking. And king, what actually you wanted? And then he says, and here Mara, now listen to me, Most High. Here your Majesty now stands is a sacred spot. As a sacred spot. There once stood the great Hanuman on the day Lakshmana was wounded in the battlefield at Lanka and lay in a deadly faint. Guided by omens, Hanuman came here, and then he went up the mountain in whose shadow your Majesty is resting now. There on its crest, he found Sanjeevini. He flew to Lanka with it, and at its breath Yama's messengers fled, and Lakshmana rose to his feet. With a new life, such was the power of Sanjeevani, and where it grew, there rose a stream. Sanjeevani grew, there rose a stream which came down the mountain and now flows fast your Majesty's feet. It is called Veda. It is called the Veda, river Veda, name of the river. It is Veda. Its water is the very lifeblood of your Majesty's humble subjects. Here he says what? Here Mara explained what actually he intended to convey to the king. Here he speaks about the river Veda. And now listen to me, Most High, O King. Now listen to me. Where your Majesty now stands, where he was standing there, once it is a very sacred space. Sacred spot means very holy place. Not in normal or an ordinary. It is a great, holy or sacred spot, place. There once stood the great Hanuman. Here, where your Majesty now stands, where your Majesty means where, O King, you are standing. Here, there once stood great Hanuman at the same spot. Who was standing? Great Hanuman was standing. Why? Lakshmana was wounded in the battlefield when the fight was going on between Ravana and these Rama, Lakshmana. When Lakshmana was fighting against the son of Ravana, that at that time he was wounded in the battlefield at Lanka and lay in a deadly faint. Lay in deadly faint means being unconscious. Unconscious. He lost his consciousness and fell down because of the fight against whom? Ravana, or his son, better call. Guided by omens, Hanuman came over here. Guided by omens in the sense that fortunes. Guided by omens, Hanuman came here, as a suggestion told. So he followed and came over here. Then he went up the mountain, and he climbed the mountain, in whose shadow your Majesty is resting now. Your Majesty is resting means you are standing there only. You are not in an ordinary place. This is a sacred spot. Went up the mountain in whose shadow your majesty is resting now. There on its crest, crest means mountain top. Mountain top. Crest means mountain top. Mountain top or an apex or summit you may call. Here on its crest he found Sanjeevani. You know that Hanuman reached that particular mountain and identified that particular plant Sanjeevani and brought, and he didn't identify that particular plant. That is why he took complete mountain and moved to where? To Lanka, and because of its breath Yama's messengers fled away. So all this story you know in Ramayana. And crest he found Sanjeevani, he flew to Lanka, flew to Lanka with Sanjeevani, even that mountain also. And at its breath means Sanjeevani's breath, Yama's messengers, means as it is said, Yama sends his messengers, his assistants to bring all those who ended their, who completed their lifespan on this earth, and they will take all these people where? To his loka. It is mentioned. So Yama's messengers fled. They ran away. It means once again Lakshmana got his consciousness. He stood on his own feet. He rose to his feet, means got back his life. With a new life. With a new life. Such was the power of Sanjeevani. You know the power of Sanjeevani. It revives back. It revives the life of even gods and nourishes mortals. Where it grew, where Sanjeevani grew, there rose a stream. Where actually Sanjeevani grows, there has taken birth a stream, not a river in its origin place. It cannot be the bigger size. Okay, in small streams it flows. There arose a stream. There is a birth of a stream, a rivulet stream, which come down where? The mountain, which comes down the mountain, and now flows fast. It is flowing fast here, past your majesty. It is flowing there, majesty's feet. Where he was standing, it is here flowing past here. It is called, what is the name of the stream? It is called river Veda. The Veda. What is the name of the river? Veda. Okay. Its water is very lifeblood of your majesty's humble subjects. Subjects means citizens or people. Lifeblood for whom? Lifeblood of your majesty's humble subjects, citizen. Is a very life force. Lifeblood in the sense life force or life itself. Without water there is no life. That is why we have studied all the civilizations here took their birth on the banks of the river. Read any civilization, Harappan civilization or Indus Valley civilization, Chinese civilization, Mesopotamia civilization, read any modern civilizations also. They flourished on the banks of rivers or big lakes. Modern civilizations, Maya, Aztec, all these. It means that is why it is called lifeblood. Where there is water, there is life. If there is no water, there is no life. So, of your majesty's humble subjects, it is a source of life. It is a source of life. River Veda is a source of, because people are using this water for their cultivation, for drinking purpose, for multi-purpose. So he explained regarding the river Veda and the story behind that. So explained regarding Lakshmana's incident. Hanuman came, took the Sanjeevani, and Lakshmana here rose to his feet, and then from there the river, a stream is flowing down. Its name is the Veda, and it is the very lifeblood of your subjects. Okay. Now, king he didn't neglect the words of Mara as the headman. Headman scolded at him, called wretched dog, useless fellow, lunatic, but the king listened what he said. Do the waters flow on all the months of the year? Whether it is a perennial river or a seasonal river. It means whether water flows throughout the year, on all the months means all the 12 months throughout the year. Mara explains. He became very happy because king is asking questions. Your majesties, I am coming to it. No, O king, because we cannot call a king as O king. Okay, your majesties, okay, I am coming to the same point. What is the season of flowing? The water has flowed on since the day Hanuman took the Sanjeevani. Its birth is in the fleeting mists of the mountain top, and it dances its way through the rare flowers and forests which clothe the mountain aside before it comes down to our village. And what do we do, my lord? Here I will repeat the command of the goddess. I saw her in a vision as I lay in my hut. I had never seen her before. Okay, I am coming to the same point. Your Majesty, the water has flowed on since the day Hanuman took the Sanjeevani. On which day Hanuman took the Sanjeevani, from that day till the day it is flowing. And its birth is in the fleeting mists, fleeting fog. Here mountain top, somewhere it takes its birth and it flows down. Fleeting mists means covered with fog. Rivers and they take birth. Okay, mountain side, it is top of the mountain. I think you might have seen many more birthplaces of these rivers. Okay, very beautiful place. They attract all the people. So its birth is in the fleeting mists of the mountain top. Crest it is meant. The word is apex, summit, top of the mountain. Fleeting mists of the mountain top. It dances its way. It dances, sir. How the rivers flow not like this. River dances. Okay, rivers flow. It dances. It dances its way through. How? Rare flowers. It passes. It moves. It runs. How? Where? Through flowers. Forests which clothe the mountain aside. Many trees are there, many flowers are there, flowering plants are there, big trees are there. It passes through all these trees and flowers before it comes down to our village. It crosses, it passes through all these. And what do we do, my lord? Here I will repeat the command. What we should do now? It is the command of the goddess. I saw the goddess of the river. The goddess of the river saw in her in a vision. As I said, he was talking about his dream. As I was sleeping in my hut, I had never seen her before. I had never seen her before. So first time I have seen her in a vision, and explains regarding her appearance. And then I had never seen her before. She stood before me. Her tresses flying in the wind. See the appearance here in this. He explains regarding the appearance of the goddess. Her tresses flying in the wind. There were stars in her coronet. A ruby as big as the eyes of that elephant sparkled on her forehead for red mark. Her garment was of gold woven with lightning. A look at her, and I knew it was the mother. Mother means goddess. I fell at her feet, and she said, "The river Veda, which you see at the foot of the hill and from which you drink water, is my very own plaything. It is my plaything. It carries in its bosom the nectar it carries in its bosom the nectar which revives, which gives rebirth. Gods nourishes mortals, but when the summer sun bakes your soil, I keep my pet sheltered in the cool glades of the mountain, and then you die of drought. He explains regarding river Veda as well as the appearance of the goddess. Her tresses means woman's long hair. Tresses means woman's long hair. Woman's long hair. Tresses means tresses flying in the wind. See here how it's the imagination of the writer. So tresses flying in the wind. Her hair was flying in the wind, and there were stars in her coronet. Coronet means crown. As she was wearing crown, and stars were there in her crown. Were stars in her coronet. Tresses flying, stars were there in her crown. A ruby, a precious stone. That is a ruby. Very precious diamond we call ruby. As big as the eyes of that elephant. What was the size of that ruby? As big as eyes of the elephant. I think you know the size of the eyes of an elephant. Sparkled, shining, sparkling, glittering on her forehead as a red mark. Okay, see he explaining long hair, crown, and stars were there in the crown, and further it is a ruby as big as the eyes of that elephant sparkled on her forehead for a red mark. It was a sparkling. Her garment, her dress, garment means her dress was gold woven, not ordinary gold woven dress. Her dress was gold woven with lightning. There was a lightning. See the explanation given by the writer through Mara about the goddess. Her tresses flying in the wind. There were stars in her coronet. A ruby as big as the eyes of that elephant sparkled on her forehead for a red mark. Her garment was of gold woven with lightning. Then look at her. I looked at her. I came to know that it was the mother. It was the goddess. It was the goddess. Mother in the sense goddess. I fell at her feet. I prostrated feet, and she said, the river Veda which you see at the foot of the hill, she said, the river Veda which is flowing here, and from which you drink, from which river you are drinking water, is my own plaything. Okay, that is mine. That river is mine. It means the goddess of the river. The goddess of river. She speaks about that river. It is my plaything. And that river carries in its bosom. What it carries in its bosom? What is there in that bosom, in the sense, in the river, or in every drop of that river Veda. In the every drop of the river Veda carries the nectar. What is that nectar? Nectar which revives means gives rebirth. Here, rebirth to goddess, to gods. It means, I think you know regarding the incident which had happened in Ramayana. Lakshmana, who was deadly wounded and fell unconscious. At that time, it was told that one should bring Sanjeevani from that mountain in an overnight. Then by tomorrow we can give medicine. And Hanuman went and picked that mountain, brought before whom? There. And that medicine was given, or Sanjeevani was given, and was revived. Okay, rose on his own feet, it is called. Then nourishes the mortals. Even it has given rebirth to gods and nourishes to keep a person alive person, animal or thing alive with food and with health, nourishes, taking care, nourishes means giving everything. Imagine there is no water, what is going to happen? Think that there is no rainfall for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, that situation is called drought. If there is no rainfall, people are struggling very hard to get a puddle of water, then that situation is called drought. So revives and nourishes mortals. Mortals means humans, mortals. We after all mortals, it is said, mortals, men. It revives gods and gives life as well as takes care these mortals, these men. But when the summer sun bakes, in summer season, temperature increases. Here, our sun becomes burning sun, scorching sun. In that heat and temperature, soil bakes. It means because of the temperature, I keep my pet. Pet means here that goddess says, pet means the Veda or your Veda. My Veda sheltered, her staying in, sheltered, staying in cool glades of mountain, in as it passes and crosses these flowers and trees in cool glades of mountain, there only. And then you die when I keep my pet where in the cool glades of the mountain, then you die of drought. You won't get water and you'll die. So explained what she said. First he explains regarding the appearance of that goddess, then further he explains regarding what she said regarding a river Veda. And then when summer ends and you have water again, when summer ends, rainy season starts and you have water again, no problem. You take what you want. At that time, what you do? You take what you want and you are allowing this water, allow the precious stream, this is very precious stream, this river, valuable river, to dissipate. Dissipate means to disappear. To disappear and perish. Perish means destroy. In the foul marshes in the sense wetland. So you take water whichever you want and you allow to flow this river, and this river flows and disappears from your sight, and there it dies and destroys, and here in the wetland, and it becomes a part of that wetland. So when summer ends and if you have water again, you take what you want and allow the precious stream to disappear. It disappears away, it moves away, okay, it continues its journey and destroys when it flows forward. Here in the foul marsh, in the wetland, far up in the sense far away, distant wetland. I command you, I order you. Who is I here? The goddess. You means here Mara. It is going on in his dream. She commanded Mara, tell your king to build a tank. Tell your king to build a tank in the sense, inform your king to build that dam against her the river, across the river, what? Across the river Veda, the tank, and not let Veda leave this village. Don't allow Veda to leave this village, because you are using whatever you want and allowing Veda to move away. But inform your king to construct a dam across this river, a tank across this river, and let Veda leave. Look that, not to let Veda leave this village. Don't allow my pet Veda, the Veda, to leave this village. Give her away home. Give her away, give her a home. Give her a home in the sense, construct a what? Here, dam against dam, across the river Veda. These were the words of the goddess. What goddess said regarding construction of tank across the river Veda. Don't allow Veda to leave your village. Use the water of Veda in your village only. I have repeated them. I have told again and again, your majesty may trample. No, I have repeated them. I have repeated in the sense, whatever which was told to me, I have repeated to you. Goddess told me, I have repeated to you those words. Now your turn, you may trample me down under your elephant. Now you may kill me, putting me where? Under your elephant. Trampling, okay, crushing. Then see here, he explained regarding the dream to whom the king. What was the dream? Sum and substance of Mara's words is that goddess in his dream says that to construct a dam across the river Veda and don't allow Veda to flow away from your village and the water to be used in your own village, and explains her appearance also. And then king, far from it, is it far away? You have the grace of gods upon you. Your words are weighty. When we return this way tomorrow, accompany us with the capital. See the words of king and the words of the headman. King listened carefully, headman didn't. And now king, her far from it. So question, far from, is it away? You have the grace of gods upon you. It means grace of gods means it's the appreciation of gods, or God speaks in you. Here you have the grace of gods upon you. Your words are really worthy. Weightage means worthy and worth to listen. When we return this way tomorrow we are coming back on the same path. Join us, accompany in the sense, join with us. Where? To the capital. We will go to our capital. Mara, forgive me, gracious one. I have only these rags to wear. I am Mara the mad. How can I follow your majesty to capital? How can I follow your majesty to the capital? Forgive me here. So pardon me, excuse me here. Gracious one. Gracious means king. I have only these rags. Old and worn out dress, rags to wear. Mara, very ordinary character and very famous character. And I am Mara. And who am I? I am the mad. How can I follow you, your majesty, to the capital? How can this fellow? No, it is not good, said. King said, our command is clear. Whatever I have said, that is final. No further discussion. Command is clear, final. Mara, yes, I obey, I will come. So here, in this scene 2, there is a discussion between Mara and king. Okay, and king asked regarding the reason to jump down that tree, and further he explains regarding the appearance of the goddess and explains about the dream and the words of the goddess. So scene 1 takes place, road menders are making the road. Scene 2, Mara explains about his dream to whom? To the king. Scene 1, scene 2. Now we will move to scene 3. What is there in scene 3? How scene 3 starts? Okay. In scene 1, at the end of the scene 1, road it was prepared, and see, at the end of scene 2, there as a tank already was constructed across the river at the end of scene 2. So it indicates before scene 3 starts, what is the location? Scene 3 in the sense here near the tank. Many years later, after some years, Mara standing before his hut, on the bank of the vast lake in the sense here tank, better called dam. There is a mingled noise of wavelets breaking upon the shore, cries of gulls and rustling of tree leaves. It's a very beautiful location. There is a mixed noise. Here Mara is standing before his hut, here on the bank of a vast lake. Now Mara became the watchman of the lake. Here now we have reached the title of this topic. Now who is Mara here? He is the watchman of the lake. Here standing on the bank of a vast lake, there is a mingled, means mixture of noise of what? Wavelets, waves here breaking upon the shore. It's a vast lake, waves are breaking, hitting on the shore, cries of birds, sound made by birds and sound made by tree leaves, rustling sound made by tree. What a beautiful scene here created by this writer. So Mara now, he is the watchman of the lake. Now read. Mara, her hallowing, calling, boy, little man, Ganga. Who is Ganga? Son of Mara. Okay. A distant voice, as is called boy, like little man, Ganga. Then a distant voice answered, Father, I am coming. Mara, where are you gone? Little man? Where were you? Mara, sound of running feet, as he was running to his hut. Sound of running feet there. Ganga, here I am, Father. You are shouting as if something or other thing had happened. I was only behind the tree watching. See here. Here I am, Father. Here I am standing here only. Why are you shouting? As if something had happened. As if something or other thing had happened. Nothing had happened over here. Why are you calling like me? I was only behind that tree. I was watching. He didn't complete his sentence. He said, I was watching. Okay. Then, what were you watching? Her Mara questioned his son. What were you watching? Ganga, there is a man fishing in the lake. There is a man who was catching fish in the lake. So, Mara fishing, her has got angry because he is the watchman of the lake. One should take his permission to do all these activities over here, and runs. Son follows him. Mara runs and son follows him. Hey man, get up, told that man who was fishing there. What are you doing here? He asked, what are you doing? Man said, nothing. No, I haven't done anything here. Mara, nothing. Surprised. Exclamatory mark is nothing. Then why that rod and hook in your hand? And how did all these fish come into your basket? Because his basket was full with fish. And how did all these fish come into your basket? Did they walk in while you were watching the sky? Whether they walked in your basket when you were looking at the sky? Is it possible? No. Did they walk in while you were watching the sky? Go, man, go before you are pushed into the lake. If you do the same thing, catching the fish in this tank, I will push you into the lake. Means I will punish you. Man, no, I was not catching fish. I speak the truth. He said, no, I was not catching the fish. I speak the truth. Then, further discussion continues between the man who was catching the fish and Mara. I was speaking the truth. So they discuss on the issue called regarding those catching the fish, and he says further regarding he is the watchman of the lake, not only watchman, the master of the lake, as it was decided by the king. We'll read the further part of this play in our next class. Thank you. Have a good day.